As a contractor, I get asked a lot of questions. Sometimes people ask me to recommend contractors, and other times they ask me if contractors are licensed and insured. But you know the question they most frequently ask? Kia, where did you get that awesome hard hat? So this is really important, and I'm going to tackle it right out of the gate. I got this awesome hard hat in South Beach. So hats off to the artists in the world, and hats off to 1 Million Cups who invited me here to speak today. I'm a Florida licensed contractor and founder of iCheckContractors. iCheckContractors verifies Florida contractors' professional license, workers' comp, and corporate status using government data in real time. Now this is important because our industry still uses paper documents. So when you ask whether we're licensed and insured, generally we're handing you a paper document that can be forged or can expire. Now think about the expiration part, because this is often overlooked. When you ask for a certificate of insurance, it is valid the day it was printed. So people generally, in our industry in construction, we use the government websites to verify if contractors are licensed and insured, because that's where the most accurate information is and up-to-date information. But even a savvy user like myself, it takes 5 minutes to go to the 3 government websites. So iCheckContractors does this in under 5 seconds. You enter in the company name of the Florida contractor, and you'll get the report in under 5 seconds. Under the corporate information, you'll see the name, address, when the company became authentic at the Division of Corporations, so that you know a little bit about how long they've been in business, their EIN number. Under the professional licensing, we're going to tell you the company name, the licensee's name, the type of license, the license number, when the company obtained the license, which again speaks to experience, and then most importantly, are there license complaints? Under the workers' comp section, we'll tell you if there's a policy or if there's work comp exempt employees, and we'll give you the people's names, because exemptions are per person, not per company. This is a big misunderstanding in our community. So let's look at the top-rated electrician on Craigslist. When you enter in his company name into iCheck, you find out there is no company information, there is no license, there is no workers' comp or exemptions, but you know what there is a lot of? License complaints. So this is very helpful to homeowners and anyone really who vets contractors. So my markets include homeowners, but I don't have the millions to become a brand. So I'm focusing my efforts right now on property managers, and they comprise homeowners associations, community association managers, and even facility managers, and they are generally like at Sun Trust, those type of big organizations. But contractors are also a potential market. GCs such as myself can use it to vet subs, but I'm also encouraging the construction community to use iCheck to show their customers, homeowners, that they are licensed and insured, and then they can hand their mobile device to the homeowner and say, check my competition. And I've actually heard in Miami some of the contractors are winning jobs this way. And another potential marketers move forward. I am beta right now, so you can do a search on your phone and check your contractors, electrician, plumber, GCs. In a month, we hope to have our new graphics up. The pricing I'm looking at is approximately $25 1 month, $60 6 months, $100 per year. I found that was more fair to the consumer to do that versus, you know, a specific amount of checks. We're going to have 1 free check on there for the public to use for free. and hope to be up and running in about a month as we work our way through the graphics, but also fine-tuning our fuzzy matching. That has been probably one of the more challenging aspects of this project, is that sometimes contractors can be a little slack when it comes to providing their name at the state agencies. They might say Bob's Air Conditioning at one and then Bob's AC Inc. at another, so there's the fuzzy match issue that we're grappling with. And other than that, just the challenges of bootstrapping. I'm a contractor. It's been a very interesting journey. This is my first startup and never had worked with tech, barely know how to do PowerPoint, so it's been a challenging journey, but I'm excited. I have a lot of evangelists, a lot of people behind me. Even the state is very interested in what I'm doing, because consider after natural disasters, the influx of scam artists we have coming to Florida. So thank you. Are there any questions I can answer? Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. Hello, hello. No, this one's not working. We'll probably have to do them because the other one isn't working.
No, we're dead on both.
Yeah, we're dead.
Okay, yeah.
We'll speak loudly.
We'll speak about it.
Great idea. I'm relatively new to Florida, and in not knowing people for recommendations, I think it's a great idea to have something out there that we can trust to get the recommendations. My question is about your websites and social marketing. I see the Contractors, I saw that website, then I saw the iCheckContractors website, then I see Facebook with your name. I do websites and social marketing, and so I'm not seeing the streamlined connection, and concerned that you could be losing a lot of traffic because you're not consistently branded and having everything connected.
Thank you. You're correct in that I am not consistently branded, and as social as I really am, I love giving presentations, I am not good at social media. So I'd love to take your card. It's something I need to do and I will be doing, because you're right, it's shotgun right now.
Yeah, and it's not just the actual social marketing, and that obviously is important, but all the behind-the-scenes type stuff where everything connects and what Google wants you to do and have everything connected, you're missing opportunity there. They're going to not necessarily penalize you, but they're going to keep you down lower than the companies that are doing it correctly. So,
Thank you for that advice. Yes, sir.
Have you considered talking to HOA Home Builder Associations?
Yes. Oh, thank you for that. In fact, they would like to sell iCheck for a percentage. I'm currently speaking with HBA at Tallahassee and their communities, the branches, correct. Yes. And also there's the Roofing Association, plumbers, electricians, and we're having those discussions because of my budgetary restraints and not being able to afford a sales team. I'm trying to find resellers to sell it for a commission, and of course they have a huge credibility, so I'm excited to say a lot of them are on board. Thank you, though.
Is there any opportunity or thought about also including the general liability insurance?
You know, there's one of my Achilles heel. There is no database of GL. There's nothing to scrape, there's nothing to download. So we do not report on GL. You, as a homeowner, have to ask the contractor to have his agent send you the certificate of insurance. So we just get the other three biggies, corporate, professional license, and workers' comp.
What kind of contractor are you?
I am a CBC, a building contractor, commercial residential to 50 feet or 3 stories.
Hi, we have a question here from Twitter, right?
It's, yeah, through YouTube, we're getting a question from Canvas.
Hey, Mike, our friends.
Oh,
Yes,
great.
Mike.
Okay.
All right, so this is a question from our friends at Canvas. We're streaming over there. This is from Greg. Who's your ideal customer, and why would they pay for ongoing access instead of per project?
My ideal customer is whoever has money, and what was the second part of the question?
Why would they pay for ongoing access instead of per project?
Okay, that's a great question. Community association managers, HOA managers, their construction is always ongoing. As you can imagine, if you live in a condo, there's always projects going on. So in that case, the annual subscription is better. But if you're a homeowner and you're just doing a bathroom remodel, you might be able to accomplish that in the 1 month. If you're doing a kitchen bath or maybe an addition, then the 6 month would be more applicable. Yes, sir.
My name is Ashwin. I have two questions. One is, once I've identified good contractors, why would I continue your service? And the second question is, have you looked at barriers to entry for companies like Blue Book and ones like that that have been dealing with contractors and professionals for a long time?
Okay, the first question was whether or not you should vet a contractor knowing that they're reputable. It's a good idea because, especially as it pertains to liability, you want to make sure that they have workers' comp in place. Now, perhaps the contractor accidentally didn't pay his premium. In this case, this is a safety net for you, that you know that the contractor is licensed and insured. And this is why I've stuck with the revenue model of time versus quantity, because I can tell you as a GC, I vet my subs every pay period because things change. So before I issue a check, I check them on iCheck to make sure they're still licensed and insured, because it's a huge liability if I have unlicensed and uninsured contractors on my job site. And part two, what was part two again?
No, actually, the first part, my question was that if I have, say, a need for 6 subs, and I hire them and I identify them, and I see that their work is good, I'm going to end your service. It's just a point I'm making. Because I've identified contractors now, and I know they're good, and they're going to give me more contacts and so on. It's just one thing to think about. The second point is Blue Book. When I want a reputable contractor, I go to Blue Book and look at their books, and then assess. So I'm just wondering how that would be a barrier to entry.
Okay, well this is very good point, especially where you say you hire a contractor and then you don't monitor whether they're compliant. I can tell you as a GC, you should be, because workers' comp is really important. If you hire a roofer and they fall off the roof, they're going to sue the GC, the roofing contractor, and they're going to sue you, Mr. Homeowner. That's just how it unfolds in the legal world. So as a professional trying to advise you, you really should monitor that contractors are licensed and insured. And this is one point I want to make, and I think most of you understand this. This is why I'm not Angie's List. I do not want to go into that subjective space where Nancy says Tom's Plumbing is 2 thumbs up. I think that is a valid market segment. I have nothing to do with that. I want nothing to do with that. I'm strictly credentials. I am looking after your assets to make sure that you don't get sued because contractors are either falling off the roof or they're not licensed professionals and they're doing shoddy work because someone gave you a forged document or what have you. So that is the difference between myself and the other services out there. Okay.
You're next, David. Just tipping off of his mentioning Blue Book, they had a networking event here about 6 months ago over the Rosen Center Hotel. They had 1,000 people in the room. They're such a perfect vendor for you. I mean, they're talking about a viral network in that space. I do a lot of building strategic alliances between contractors. So every time that we're putting somebody together that possibly we're going to get in bed with, we've got a list of stuff we need to know about that party. And this would make it real simple. So to begin with, I can tell you a bunch of people that'll buy this in a heartbeat. There's way too many spaces to go down in this. It's a matter of what are you envisioning? Right now, we do project management all over the country. And we'll bring 100 to 500 vendors in to handle a fire or a water loss. Can we do this with you in any state at this moment? Where are you? Do you have any geographic limitations?
Okay, currently I'm Florida only because, as I told you before, my Achilles heel with GL, I am scalable, but the problem is contractor licensing and getting access to the data. So some states don't even license contractors, so we have that, but also the ones that do, is their data available? And then probably number 3 is, do I have the money to scale right now? No, I'm gonna launch in Florida, try to grow it from there. And yes, absolutely, you understand that whole vetting and the importance of it and how this is a real time saver. So I would love to talk to you further about where you see the markets and any introductions and so forth. I'd be very grateful for that.
You're getting such good questions, I thought about not piling on, but I'll offer a couple of points. First, I had an opportunity to lead the building of a $13.5 million facility in a different region. And I completely get your model and the importance of that. We had to manage through an owner's representative and a GC, the subs, all of that. There was no way that we could have done a check once and let the year-and-a-half project go without continually checking. So congratulations on that. The other was just an observation. There's a company out there online called publicdata.com, which is not directly in your space, but they have a multi-state database of licenses, from driver's licenses to professional licenses, criminal background checks, sex offender databases. And so take a look at that particular model just to see what they're doing. I don't see them as competition. I'm not even sure they're a channel, but they're doing some stuff online and it may inform what you want to do next.
Thank you. I like looking at the other companies and even competition, because sometimes what I'm finding is they're not getting very good data. And I'm spending a lot of time on making sure I'm giving you correct data, but also putting it through a filter so that I only give you what you need. And one company I recently looked at was giving also my licenses as it pertained to like my continuing education courses, etc. So, but thank you very much for that, publicdata.com. Okay, thank you, I'll look at that.
So I have a question and an observation, and forgive me if I asked something that you addressed while I was running around doing my things. But my first question and observation is, are you primarily going to be targeting the B2B market with the business side of it, which I see your point, or the homeowners, which I could see that the revenue model might be a little bit one time, one shot only? And also, is there a part in the model where the contractor pays you as well for any additional promotion services, etc.?
Right now I'm going B2B just because I have the connections and because professionals understand what I'm talking about. It's a little bit more streamlined for me. So again, property managers, contractors, project managers, to use it in-house. But eventually this might be outward facing. Let's say insurers get a claim from a homeowner needing repair. Maybe on their website is an outward facing one that the homeowner can vet potential contractors. But again, baby steps, pivoting every 30 seconds, it's exhausting.
Just a quick question. It immediately came to mind that if I've got a renovation project as a homeowner, and say I subscribe to the 6 months because it's a long process or whatever, have you considered doing almost a push service so that I put in, these are my 5 contractors, these are my 3 subs, and please notify me if there's a change in status of any of these guys, instead of having to go back and recheck all the time?
Yeah, that's very interesting because the state does that with workers' comp. I hadn't thought about that, but thank you for that idea. I'm going to put that on the to-do list because that sure takes the burden off of you.
Yeah, as a homeowner, I'd be, if I had to go to the website and check every week or whatever, it'd be a burden that I'd forget about.
In fact, there is a company, Credential Depot, that does that. They're quite expensive, but that is a market segment to primarily, I believe, community associations, but my understanding it's very expensive compared to this. But again,
That would be
I'm
another
putting the
tier
burden
that
on
you
you
could-
to check, so.
Right.
But thank you for that idea. It's something to think about.
Any other questions?
I have another one. Is this
We will build an app if I'm profitable, if I'm able to start getting, you know, some real concrete validation of my idea, which means money. Any other questions?
So in the spirit of 1 million cups, we always have one final question, which is, as a community, what are some of the top things that we can do to support you today?
Well, check some contractors. We're still in beta, but we're fine-tuning the programming. Help me spread the word. And if you mentioned you had connections in the industry, if you have ideas, introductions, or want to work sales commission only as I start up, anything, honestly. I want to turn around that question and say, how can you help me? Because sometimes I don't know how you can help me. I'm new to the tech world, so I'm overjoyed when your community and you reach out to me and say, hey, have you thought about this idea? This has been a great help to me being here at 1 Million Cups. Just getting feedback from you on things I hadn't even thought about. So I'm turning the question around, and thank you for all the great feedback and questions.
I have one more comment.
Yes.
Based upon your market segmentation, I have been involved in projects that were 80 million and $100,000, $20,000. When you're dealing with very large projects, when you look at your market segmentation, you may want to have a tiered membership so that somebody like a Craft Construction or a Fort Myers who does $40 million projects may need a lot more deeper information and could be in a diamond membership or a platinum membership as opposed to a homeowner. That might be something you may want to consider.
Yes, that potentially could be, and provide them different types of information. The one thing is I just want to make sure that I can tell you right now, I'm not going into the subjective space. I really don't want to rate homeowners. As somebody in the know, walking the walk every day on these job sites, I can tell you things turn on a dime. It's just the way it is. So I tend to let Angie be Angie, and I primarily want to stay in the credential market, but then again, you all know this. We pivot, and if the consumers tell me I know better, then that's where my heart is in just the facts. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right now, before we have another presenter, we can go for a coffee break if you want another cup of coffee. And also a shout out to our sponsors, Roland's, for providing us with this great space, Barney's Coffee for giving us our caffeine in the mornings, and Torch Studios for providing us with the camera and the live.
1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
Over the years, we've added more cities. It creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable.
Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what, my idea is worth something. It's worth pursuing. It's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
So everybody's here. So now we will have our next presenter, Real Simple Photos. I will go ahead and give out the mic.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. We got done with that coffee break and we're ready to go. So, my name is Christopher Rank. I am here to talk to you today about Real Simple Photos. We have a small photography company here, and the way that we started is I have a bunch of friends that are photographers. They have multiple years of experience. Some of these guys have decades of experience, and they're sitting around their houses 3 days a week not doing anything. And so I said to myself, there's this massive explosion in content going on because of the social media revolution. How can we connect photographers to the content that needs to be created? And so what we did is we created this concept of Real Simple Photos, and it has a twofold purpose. Our purpose is to, first of all, support local businesses and make sure that you guys, as local business owners, have enough content to be able to engage your customers and engage your other businesses and whatever your business is. And so photography is a large part of that social media content. Anybody who runs a small business knows that you need all of these factors to get followers, to continue to engage customers, to continue to engage your business. And so we want to provide a low-cost alternative to stock photography and some of the other sources that have been the go-to traditionally for business owners. And so we talked to these photographers and they agreed to do very low-cost photo shoots. And what that does is it gives them another income stream on top of their existing businesses. And so they go out and do jobs for us, and we're able to support these very talented local artists and match them up with small businesses that need their services but may not have been able to, based on previous experience, be able to afford or handle the complexity of managing a photo shoot. And so, because there's so much proliferation of images and there's so much demand, we have this business model where we are offering $500 photo shoots, and that is unheard of in my business. And so what happens is we send a photographer with multiple decades of experience out to your place of business. In 90 minutes, they shoot whatever they see, using their talent, knowledge, and experience, and a brief on your brand, and create a photography library that you then get to choose 10 photos for that $500. And that is done in one business day. You schedule your photographer, they come out, we shoot. Next business day, you've got your photos, you're ready for social media, you're ready for any use that you want to use for the next 2 years. That includes television, that includes social media, that includes print, that includes in-store, any use that you want to use these photos for. Now, how do we do this? Again, we've got these talented photographers, and these guys and girls, we have 4 on staff right now with a combined experience of 75 years. And so we get your photographer to you, they shoot all the pictures, they are your brand guardians. And so we want to work with local businesses to make sure that the content matches what you're trying to accomplish, as well as is incredibly high quality. Now, we have a couple of really great stories from clients. I'm just going to tell you one. Water Oak Advisors is a wealth management company located here in Winter Park, Florida. And they are a very elite crew of money managers, brokers, all of these guys in the financial services industry. Their problem was that they needed to create a stable of photos to use in their marketing and advertising. They needed to do this very quickly, but they needed to do this with minimum disruption to the business, and they needed to make sure that we didn't spend all day there and disrupt the entire day. So their solution was hiring Real Simple Photos. We came in with 3 photographers at the same time, and in 90 minutes, we were able to produce architectural, brand, and marketing and advertising photos with their staff in under that 90 minutes, return 66 photos to them for their library in under 2 days. And so that was a huge win for us. It was a huge win for the firm. They got us in and out of there in 90 minutes, and it was like a long lunch to these guys. So that was one of our really great success stories in how we deal with businesses. How do we hope to scale this idea? We hope to franchise. And so due to the massive amount of photographers out there, very talented, all with decades of experience, again, sitting around their house 3 days a week, we hope to branch out to other cities, use this model to get them working, get them going to small businesses, and providing their talents. We hope to offer the brand and a turnkey workflow solution. And the workflow would run through a program called Adobe Lightroom, which is pretty much the gold standard in our business for using photography. And so we're going to create a custom Adobe Lightroom plugin that will not only help them manage their workflow, but also feed into another income stream for the business that is a micro stock agency. This micro stock agency would then take all of the photos that have been expired after their 2 years are up and feed it into a website so that people that have not hired us for custom photography can use some of the photos as their content based on their industry. We also partner with local ad agencies and marketing firms, and we help, and we are going to expand also into other traditional freelance opportunities. And so, what are our current challenges? Our current challenges are recurring monthly income. Obviously, that's always a challenge for businesses. Falling content prices is also a pressure on us because content prices are continuing to fall. Ad costs in different markets, we're going to have to pivot depending on the market that we're in. The price point is going to change depending on other factors in that market. And then securing a sales force, that business to business, getting in front of other businesses, getting those sales folks paid with commission and all that is also a struggle. And then identifying proper franchisees and identifying proper photographic talent. Those are our challenges. We've got solutions for most of those, but I hope that you guys have some questions for us. I know that I covered a lot here in 6 minutes, but yeah, we gotta wait for the microphone.
Chris, when you said $100 and it was 90 minutes?
$500.
$500, I'm sorry. Oh, $500.
$500 for 90 minutes, yes.
So, okay, so is that potentially profitable for you as well as photographers?
We do it is we have a 50-50. So the company keeps 50% of the revenue, the photographer gets 50% of the revenue off the top.
Oh, okay.
Any photos past 10 in that package are priced at $50 per photo. So we just had a client that purchased 14 photos, so it was $700. So we continually, offer upgrades to any of those $500 packages. And then the other bonus for our photographers is that if it's a job that is far more involved than the 90 minutes, right? Let's say that you have an ad agency and you really need like a 2-day photo shoot and you need like 800 photos or something crazy. We would pass that off to our photographers, and so that is a sales bonus for them as an ability to quote it through their own companies and then just to a traditional photo shoot. And then we would keep 30% of that income.
A question?
Yes. Yeah, real quick. I have one from Canvas, but I'm going to need to get some clarification on it. But I actually had a question in regards to, is there an option for, let's say, for example, that firm in Winter Park, oftentimes they have content like that that's shot, they want to use it past 2 years, particularly if it's a library that's 60+ photos.
Yeah, absolutely. We give the option if you would like to re-up after 2 years, you just pay the fee again because the fee is so low that we are just going to go ahead and just allow you to pay the $500 and you keep those 10 photos for the next 2 years again. We also have a perpetual contract as well. If you want to buy out the photos, it's a little more expensive, but then, we do offer that option as well. Yes, sir.
Too many ways to play with this. It was a Pinteresting presentation. But one of the things that I'm thinking about is on the franchise side, I don't see it. I see a licensing model.
Okay.
I think that's going to be, because otherwise you're going to burden yourself unless you know where you got a quick $250,000 laying around to go get yourself ready. But on the other side of it for them, you had told me out in the hall that what you're doing is you're providing them a new income stream.
Correct.
Not necessarily a full-time career.
Correct.
So with that being the case, I think licensing would be the direction to go in your languaging and to be investigating how to take that. And
that's an excellent point. We definitely should talk about that offline and maybe talk about some of the differences between the licensing and the franchising.
And if you wanted to find candidates, you could do something creative. You always want to create a question that needs to be answered, but first it has to be asked. If you can get people that are potential candidates to come in and do the licensing, to come in and you say, now hiring 500 Instagramographers, make up a word, they don't even know what it is.
Sure.
They got to call you to find out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And at least now you have some people to talk to while you're, in the meantime, out courting real photographers. But you'll probably find real photographers in doing so, because they're going to go, I think I know what he's saying. But the word hiring will get lots of phone calls.
That's an excellent point, and that is definitely something I'd like to talk to you more about and flesh that idea out. That's fantastic.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Where do we have one?
Oh, here. Sorry. Yes.
Again, my name is Ashwin, and I was an avid photographer as a kid. I have to tell you, this is a fantastic business model. I really like it.
Thank you.
And I would like to make a couple of comments and then a question.
Please.
I think one of the challenges you face is that people are getting very savvy with smartphones. So smartphone should be a challenge. And many people who know their business know angles of how to take pictures and what they want to show. They may not be real photographers. If you had video content, I would hire you right now.
We do have a video partner that we work with, Real Simple Video.
Yeah. And that is very, very important for me. I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the savvy in getting a message in 30 seconds to 1 minute on my business model. So I would hire you immediately.
We have a video package that offers a 15-second social media quick edit with a 2-hour shoot for $9.99. And so that's again almost unheard of. We have professional cinematographers that we hire for that with all of the gear and equipment, and they're one of our partners. And that revenue model is actually a 70-30, so they keep 70% of that, we keep 30. And again, we are simply just ferreting that job out to our video guys. But yeah, we do have Real Simple Video as well.
I think you'll be very successful if you do this right. I mean, you've got crowdfunding, you've got messages, non-profits. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So many questions. Okay.
All right, I love the idea. Awesome. And the last thing we were talking about was challenges. And challenges are great because after you solve them, you're at a higher level.
Absolutely.
So what right now would be your biggest, toughest challenge at this point?
My toughest challenge at this point is part of that $500. We've broken that price down into making sure that we have enough revenue to, say, pay commission for sales, to pay hourly, to pay for marketing, and all of that stuff in that $250 space, right? And so we have a sales team that makes a 15% commission and an hourly rate based on that, but we're finding that that our sales team is not as effective as we had hoped for. And so right now, my toughest challenge is getting a really, really effective sales team to go and talk to business owners. And that's my toughest challenge at this point. Because the business, I mean, the business sells itself. I mean, everybody needs content. $500 is nothing for a lot of businesses. I mean, it's not nothing. Money is always money. But the amount of content that you're getting and the quality and the license for it is amazing. And so we're trying to get the word out. But again, that sales force is definitely a challenge for us.
You need to find people with the belief and drive.
Exactly. Yeah. The salespeople that I've talked to have been mostly in the outdoor sector. And the medical sector, and they, the $500, price point for them is really, really, really low, and they don't understand like the volume and that there's a recurring income. We have a couple of other product packages. We have a monthly product package as well. That's a $750 for 25 photos, and that's a monthly package with a 6-month contract. And so that's something that we're looking at selling as well.
My question is, how are you able to keep your prices so low? Because I know I've been being in this industry for a long time, that's a great deal. Especially if you're licensing, doing editing, post-production, is one of the ways you get around that because you hire experienced photographers who can do post-production pretty fast?
We do all the post-production ourselves. So there's a point person that does all of the workflow. In this particular case, I do all the workflow for the company starting out, and I can get through, I mean, you've seen me edit photos, I can get through 1,000 photos in about 15 minutes. So we keep our prices low because we are using extremely experienced photographers coming from the film world that had to get it right the first time. And so we tell them, You know, on the back end of that, the instructions for the photographers, they're given a creative brief before they come out to your business, and we try to limit them to less than 150 photos when they come out and shoot, because otherwise, you know, I'm sitting there editing photos for hours and we don't make any money. So that's a great question. It's our workflow is the secret, is that we have a very effective workflow, and then we also have scripts that run on the computer that then process the photos and lay our color wash against them, and so that everything is consistent and looks the same. So it can be 3 different photographers, but it all looks like it's the same company.
I want to encourage you, very good presentation, and I'm looking 3 to 5 years down the road. I'm wondering, do business models like fiber come into your space, and you know, how does that affect where you go from here?
Yeah, so we do a lot of work, like the financial services firm, they luckily had a very beautiful space. We just did a job for a business coach firm that I really can't talk about because they haven't launched yet. And they were like, well, how do you take pictures of business coaches? Like, I mean, it's me and my partner, and we're not very photogenic. And so, and so our challenge was that, you know, we have to come up with creative that is going to fit their brand and their business model, you know, and then, you know, execute that. And that's where our years of experience come in, because I can send a Raphael Tongel or an Eric Sutton to a business like that, and they didn't even have a place of business. They were working out of their houses. So we arranged with their ad agency to shoot some stuff in their conference room, and it was very generic. You wouldn't know that it was somebody else's conference room, but we shot a lot of stuff, and we ended up with 14 photos for them, you know, in the space of, I think, 60 minutes. Because they were very busy. And so we were able to generate this stuff. Now, a lot of it is gonna look like stock photography, but you know, the stock photography has their logo all over it, and it has all of their branding, and it looks really good. So it may just be the hands with the computer and, you know, all that sounds very generic, but it's got all of their branding built into it, so.
So do you see fiber as a disruption or a disruptive force down the road for you?
I don't understand what you mean about fiber.
Fiber is a service online that lets you post requests for some artistic work.
Sure, I mean, there's always going to be price pressures for that. I mean, stock photography is one of our main challenges too, right? I mean, because there's a lot of really good, high quality stock photography out there. The really good stuff is over $50 a photo. And so to purchase, you know, stock photography at that point, or, you know, if you've got fiber or one of those other services, there's a bunch of design services out there as well, and, you know, like $5 logo. You know, to be honest, you get what you pay for. You know, we've got these guys coming out, they're executing creative on a really high level for these local businesses, and that's what we hope to either franchise or license, as my friend mentioned. Another question.
Go ahead.
So I think you started to answer this question, but I wanted to ask you about photo deliverability, and this is kind of leading into a comment. So I know I have a few clients in Charleston who need this yesterday, but if the deliverability is 10 beautiful photos, but they're raw photos, they might not know what to do with it. So
10 finished photos.
Okay. So usually what they're coming to me with is, I need a website project, I need my social media done. So do you find that people usually come to you because they have a project in mind? And if so, how do you deliver on that, and does that affect the price?
Yeah, we go out and we will, so like for instance, if it's a website project, we take that into consideration, because when I hand the photographer the job, they've got a half-page creative brief. I didn't bring a PDF file with me to show you a creative brief, but basically our creative brief has like, yo, they're doing a website and they need this, and this is some things about their business, and this is some things about their brand, and you know, they're able to execute that. Now, when we're working with agencies, a lot of agencies want to be like, okay, I have this shot list, and that's not how we work. We are sending these guys out as brand ambassadors to understand your business and shoot it the way that they see it. That's another way that we keep our costs really low, is because if I have to get a photographer to execute a shot list with 10 or 15 shots on it, that's going to take a half day. If I can get them to go out, shoot it, make it really great, they can do it in 90 minutes. If it's something more involved, like you're saying, like it's an agency, we have 20 shots on this shot list, and we've got product photography, and we've got architecture, and da-da-da-da-da, we can price that through the partner photographer, and they would just go out and give you their half-day rate or whatever else, and that would be part of that negotiation. So this is really, like, what this is really great for is like this financial services firm or this, you know, restaurants love us because we can go out and shoot the beauty of their restaurants, and it's a no-brainer. You know, other types of retail, it's really easy. Again, somebody else had come up with, like, you know, what do we do about, you know, things that aren't so photogenic? You know, that's a little more challenging, but we still handle that. So. But yes, to answer your question, we can pretty much handle whatever, and if we don't have the bandwidth, then we use the photographer and run it through their actual business.
So, first of all, I completely agree with Don. Licensing is definitely a way better way to go than franchising, so definitely explore that idea. My fiance and I own a magazine and a design firm, so we understand the competition that comes from other social media and things like that, but we completely ignore it. And I think that you should completely ignore it too, and just proceed forward with what you're doing because it's a great business model. And then I completely forgot the question I had.
I'll take the praise, yeah.
So I remembered my comments, but not the question. So if I think of it, I'll come again.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, is photography has always been traditionally seen as this incredibly competitive world. That's not how I work as an artist. You know, my first love is doing art and being an artist, and no one is going to take a picture the same way I'm going to take it, and no one's going to take a picture the same way Eric is going to take it, or Raphael, or anybody else. And so I see everything as all other photographers as potential partners, and I see all other firms doing something similar as potential partners. That's why we want to work with ad agencies and design firms and be a service to them. You know, one of the things that I kind of peripherally mentioned is that we may eventually move into the space where we're providing freelance services to firms, so like real simple copywriting, real simple production artist, you know, like something like that. So instead of like trying to go out and, I worked for an ad agency for 10 years, and so one of the really difficult things is identifying really great freelancers that are consistent. And so we could do a lot of that legwork as well and use our matching service to help agencies.
So that reminded me of my question, which was you were talking about how you have this partnership mindset, and that's one of the things that's driving your business right now. And I think that one of your biggest struggles is the sales team, because if you don't have sales, you don't have money. And we all know that sales is the most important thing. So part comment, part question. The question is, have you considered doing that as a partnership, where other entities or salespeople or businesses that are doing B2B sales can just be affiliates, so that if I have 3,000 clients or I have 30 clients, I can offer them all this package and I get, you know, a $100 commission on each one that takes you up on it. And the second piece to that is that if you have sales reps.
You know, the low price point has been my challenge with salespeople. If I'm selling a $30,000 billboard and I get 1% of that, then that's fantastic. If I'm selling a $500 package and get 15%, it's not enough motivation, I've found. So that's really, it's just a tick in our business model, and that's something that we're actively exploring, and I have to really sit down and crunch those numbers again and run that spreadsheet a 17th time. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, any help. Yes, sir.
All right, I have another question or two from Canvas, and then I have a comment. They're asking what happens after 2 years. Not sure if that's been answered, but also, do the photographers get to use the photos?
Yeah, that's two very good questions. After 2 years, the rights revert back to the company, and the photographer always retains their copyright. We do not take copyright away from photographers. I don't believe in that. If a photographer revokes their copyright, then those photos go away. Not from the client, because the client's paid for them, but after that 2 years, if they don't want to participate in the microstock agency, then they don't. Part of our Lightroom plugin that we want to capitalize and program is that it will automate that process, so that we have everything built into metadata, and then the stock photos would appear on the website and disappear from the website based on the licensing that's available on them automatically.
And real quick, my follow-up in terms of what kind of network do you have? Just local or nationally? you could in essence become a go-to place for Fortune 500 companies that are looking for photographers, that don't want to have to take the time to have to
vet
you know, vet themselves. If they know you've already vetted them, you're a professional and you're getting the best of the best, you might have something to look at there.
Yeah,
and not have to worry about the $500, you know, just
Sure, yeah. I mean, and that's an excellent point. I mean, part of our vetting process is that we require at least 10 years of experience for our photographers, and we also require that they started with film. No digital photographers allowed. They all have to have started with film. Well, no, that's started with, yeah, we do not hire young people photographers. If you're 25 years old, forget it. I'm not going to hire you.
All right, that kind of wraps us up time-wise, but obviously lots of questions and comments still in the audience, but we do ask our 1 Million Cups question, which is, in the spirit of 1 Million Cups, what can our community today do for you? A couple of things.
I mean, it sounds like I'm going to have a line out the door talking to everybody with great ideas, so I really appreciate the feedback and, you know, just everything that you guys have done, and, you know, I would love to chat with a few of you guys offline about some of the things that we brought up about licensing and some of the other things. So.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Big round of applause. And that wraps us up for today. So Kia and Chris, thank you very much for bringing your new models into our community. Thanks to our audience for being great guests. Bring someone with you next week, and we'll see you same time, same place next Wednesday. If you need parking passes, they're out on the table.